More Smith & Wesson next.
But first, Gun Prom is coming to the Inland Empire. Get your dresses, suits ready to dust them off and go dancing. Get ready to celebrate and support the Second Amendment. Join us and other Second Amendment supporters November 12th, 2022 at March Air Museum in Riverside, celebrating the delicious food, drinks, and dancing. Don't miss your chance to win some amazing prizes and support the Second Amendment at the same time. Get your tickets now at gunprom.com. All right. So I've been looking forward to this. Alisha Curtin is going to do my first gun review, I think. A real live gun. And we couldn't have picked.
We got to think of a name for this segment. I don't know.
Alisha Curtin, shooting from the hip.
Shooting from the hip. I like what about like pull back the curtain?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, like mic drop, but we got to have something that's a little bit more.
It's got to be really horrible. I think that's a requirement for this show. All right, anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, as we destroy her review. So I will let you just dive right in since it's your gig.
Okay. So I had the opportunity through a great connection, Dave. Thank you. To get my hands on a Smith Wesson Model 500, which, if you're not familiar with what it is a cannon of a revolver.
Yeah, I was going to say a handheld cannon.
It does actually come in numerous barrel lengths. The one that I was able to get my hands on and shoot actually is the longest barrel they make, which was a 10.5-inch barrel. It does go as small as a 2 3/4.
So what are the people have been asking me, because I've been telling them the whole thing. What's the difference between a short barrel and a long barrel as far as velocity, accuracy, and comfort?
So, on the Model 500 in particular, so as far as accuracy goes, your max accuracy is going to be at most 50 yards with that 2 3/4 barrel.
Just because you think it's a cannon and it can shoot down the road, it's only going to be
the longer the barrel, the longer the rifling twist, the more spin. It's just like throwing a football. If you just straight arm throw it, it's going to be a much different result than if you're able to put some spin on that ball.
Gotcha.
So,
and then what about recoil and things like that?
The more weight, the more steel, the more gun that you have, the more, and there's some other variables that go into that as far as how that weight's distributed. However, in general, the more weight that you have on that gun, the more recoil the gun's going to absorb on your behalf, and so the less you're going to feel. Right.
So so you had this, because you'd never fired one before.
I had not. No.
So happy birthday to you.
Thank you. And in addition to having this monstrosity of a barrel, but by the way, the gun itself weighed about 5 pounds, unloaded. So the gun itself is incredibly heavy, a 10-inch barrel, or 10.5-inch. And in addition to having that 10.5-inch barrel, it actually had a muzzle brake on the end of it.
Right.
Which, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's able to kind of dissipate the gas release. So it actually minimizes the recoil even more. So the recoil on this was not substantial at all. It actually was pretty minimal. But the sound percussion was unreal. That right there will knock you over.
It's like going to NHRA and listening to a Top Fuel dragster come off the line.
Right.
Yeah. I knew.
I have to trust you on that one, but I can see that.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, it's insane. So who is this gun for?
Okay, so the gun itself, if you want to kind of get into the specifics of it, it was designed and put out there to be a handgun, hunting handgun for the purpose, and they state that it will actually be effective against essentially any North American critter that you can come across: bear, bison, elephant. It'll take it down.
I was in Kodiak, Alaska.
Elephant.
Absolutely.
It's able to go through that skin. So I have something here I want to share with Jackson, because I know Jackson is going to be. I think Jackson's our most active shooter. He might even shoot more than me. So you ready? Can I show you something, Jackson?
You ready?
Right. I know. Let me see. All right, I know he's going to be familiar with this guy. What is that?
What caliber is that, buddy?
9mm.
You are correct. So that's a 9. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll leave that here. All right, actually here. So Jackson can see it. So that's the 9. You're familiar with that one, right? You want to see what the 500 looks like? You ready?
Oh.
The look on his face.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think of that, buddy?
So what do you think of that? So the word cannon, does that sound right?
Very much.
So just for fun comparison, here's a 223/556. Just if you have some familiarity.
Now what goes
in
into 223? Just a 22?
No. What do you mean? What goes into it? So this is going to be essentially 223-556. It's a rifle round.
Gotcha.
It's going to be your most common ARs are going to run in that caliber. Here's a 45, and then a 38 special. Just for some fun comparison there.
And each one has its own use. And
It does. So the 500, it's a semi-rimmed round. So if you were to, one thing I didn't grab was a 22. I should have grabbed a 22. But you know how 22, if you can picture it in your mind, it has a very straight linear edge, and then it has a flared bottom. That rim kind of flares and comes out. Right. So the 500 does have the straight edge. However, it does kind of dip in, and it has a minimal flare, but it's not as wide as the true rimmed like a 22. Mm-hmm. So
those are all your different sizes. But yeah, so
if there's a burglar
that's the one you want.
in your neighbor's house,
that's the one. Well, and then
behind
On
the
the other side of
refrigerator, behind the refrigerator,
in the trunk of his car.
right.
No, this thing, if anybody wants to have fun, just go online and, just Google, Smith & Wesson 500, gel shot or video, and just stand back.
If you want to have a really great time, look up the 2 3/4 inch videos that you'll find.
2 3/4, what meaning as in? What's 2 3/4?
It's a very short barrel. So the barrel itself.
I
that's
see
the
one
length
guy.
of the barrel.
I see one guy almost hit himself in the face with it.
Yeah.
And he was a pretty beefy dude.
Yep.
And that's a two-handed shoot. I mean, you don't shoot that with one hand.
I would not recommend it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
No.
I did see a video where a guy did. And then, have those big gel squares. They were shooting all kinds of rounds through it, just squiggle, squiggle, and
Right.
squiggle, squiggle. Then they fired that thing and it just destroyed the block. It was gone.
It would.
Yeah, which it would. Money-wise, what are we talking?
So the 2 3/4 is no longer in production. I believe the 6 inch is no longer in production. Of the models that are still being made and built, they're going to run you ballpark 12 to 1,500, maybe a little bit more. Depends on where you go.
Right. And then the hardest part is finding one.
Correct.
Because it's not like they're on the shelf.
Correct. The 8 3/8, which is I know the original one that we were trying to find initially, actually comes with a couple of. There's one that'll have an interchangeable muzzle brake, and then and there's some that come even all without. So there's lots of variations and variables. If you are not very picky as to what you're looking for, then you're going to have better luck. But if you want something very specific in particular, you're going to have a hard time finding it.
And you want to hear what just about killed her?
what?
This gun is going to be for display use only.
No, they're buying it just to display?
Pretty much. And so I made the owner.
Like a warning? Like, what are they going to...
No, I made the owner. I told him, I said, you have to go down. You have to shoot this thing at least once.
Yeah.
You have to,
Right.
And he did.
I think he actually put 2 through, I believe. I can't recall.
He grinned so
Yeah.
much.
Well, how was the shootability?
Yeah. Because you had two
So-
people that never shot before, by
Correct.
the way.
So yeah, it was myself and the gentleman who purchased the gun, as well as a friend that was there to help with the filming.
Wasn't our videographer?
I did. I put it in his hands. So you want to grab that? So it's a revolver. So you have the option of double or single. It'll go double or single action. You cock that hammer back. The single action, just like any other revolver, is a very light, easy trigger press. But make sure you have a good, steady grip on it before you get near that trigger.
Oh yeah, I can. I can just imagine. And
It'll
like
hit
this,
exactly where you want to be.
And you're right. I don't know if I mentioned I was in Kodiak, and we went on a tour on a side-by-side, and the Coast Guard guy that was running the tour, because that's his little job on the side, was carrying a 50.
What?
He says it's for bear. He says I can knock a bear down, and I think he had like the 6.5-inch barrel. I couldn't really tell because he had it in a chest vest.
Okay.
And so
Yeah, they make a 3.5, a 4.
yeah, I didn't know what length
yeah.
it was, but I knew if he had that, I'm going to stand right behind him.
Good place to be.
I got this thing all figured out.
And I'd actually like to make a quick correction before I forget. I know last week, Mike, you mentioned that was this the only firearm that would fire this caliber? And initially I did agree because I had heard that as well, and I didn't know for sure. I just want to put the record straight. It is not. There's a number of firearms that'll fire it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember the official name of the round? I just put you right on the spot.
You did.
I'll look it up.
I left the box at home.
Yeah. Move on to something else.
Yeah, it's what, $3.75?
It's a Smith Wesson. I want to say it's a Win Mag.
It's
It's about $350 around.
$3.75.
Yep.
Wow. All right. And anybody wants to know anything more about it?
It's just 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. That's all it's called.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought somebody had some goofy names for it too. I wasn't 100% sure. I don't know why I know that. All right. Well, that was a great review brought to you.
Would you buy it? Would you? Do you?
Oh, I'd buy it in a minute if you're asking me.
Would you recommend, like, if someone said, "Hey, I'm going into bear country. I'm either going to get a 44 Magnum or I'm going to get a 500." What would you say?
Oh, absolutely, 500 all the way.
Yeah.
Wow, you liked it that much?
Yeah.
It was really, you could control it.
Yeah.
It was,
Okay, so let me ask you a really more important question. Would that be a gun you would go out and buy if you had the money? I'm only saying that because that's
You taking me to Alaska?
You'd love Alaska.
I know I would.
You wouldn't come back.
Maybe.
Probably not. But would you buy that gun
If I had a reason. It is a novelty gun?
Exactly.
It would be a novelty gun if I were to buy it.
Well, it's kind of like buying a Rolex.
Right.
Okay? You know, my watch works fine, but, personally, I would not buy a Rolex. I'm sorry. But there's something about that gun, and I haven't even shot it yet, but there's something about that gun that you just kind of want it.
It's pretty awesome.
I know.
Oh, you know what? Somebody makes an AR in Smith Wesson 500. All right, I'm in.
Yeah, you're set.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.